Hello everyone, and welcome to another Dash Plotly video talking about some of the things that I have worked on over the past year, just kind of showcasing some useful tools that you can use to help you during your development. So I've created about 10 to 12 different components for Plotly and Dash over 2024, which have accumulated about, 42 to 50,000 downloads, which is pretty good. And I think that I have created a lot of useful, unique components that have never really been seen. I think my most notable ones in 2024 have been Dash Panellum, which allows you a 360 panorama component that works with Plotly and Dash. Which I created the ability to work with pictures, with videos, which supports a bunch of different props that allow you to basically have a tour, so you can jump in between different panoramas real easily. It adds a button. It's pretty cool. And then partial panoramas, and then the video panorama, which I won't play because it's kind of loud. Let's see. Actually, I will. So so there's a video panorama. Pretty cool. So that's been one of my most notable ones in 2024. My most popular one has been, dynamic grid layout, which allows you to dynamically put components into a grid and then to resize them, and then to jump in between edit mode and not edit mode, to add new components. So just add a new one like that, gets added to the grid. That was a pretty cool one that we worked on. Dash Excalidraw is my most recent component that I created, which allows you to create an interactive notebook. So pretty cool. Add pictures, remove stuff, change color, just allows you to, use your art, and just get creative. So I thought that this was a pretty cool project and a useful tool that could be in partnership as far as like creating data science and then having notes and interactive notes to kind of talk about it, or for students, or however you would like to expand this into. I've kind of already started taking this to the next level by integrating it into an application, but there's still some work to be done with that, and pretty excited about this component specifically. So outside of that, this documentation is really a shining gem that I wanted to bring into the community, because not only is it good for showcasing, components that you're building out. It could be used in data science or in documentation for an API, or a lot of different areas where you might want another application that is focused on documentation outside of your actual application. So it's better to kind of focus your development in specific areas rather than having it all into one. So instead of having an application that is designed to, be user facing, creates interactive maps, data science, all that, and it has, a documentation within it, it just makes the code, really difficult to manage. And it's just better to have two applications where this application's job is to be documentation, where this application's job is to be user facing and to be, the interactive tool that they use. So with that, this documentation is what I turned into a repository for anybody to get started with. And I broke it down to as simple as possible, trimmed a lot of the fat, and released it as something that people can easily clone and bring into their own workflow. So just git clone, go to this link, which I will include down below. You copy this from the code, and then git clone, paste that, and it will copy over everything. So what this code actually is it's just the code that I added for the documentation. I trimmed it down so it's not going to have all this, but just to kind of show how it's supposed to be used, this is a good example. This is how I'm using it in the pip documentation. So in the Dash Pip Components, this is the documentation that you're seeing on the back end. So what you have a run file, which is basically just showing you, everything that's going to be used to initially run it. Then it's going into pages, So this is going to be your home page, your initial like landing. This is based off of whatever you have for the README. So this is the same README that I have for my home page. And then you can create other pages here if you want. You can link them in. This markdown file, you shouldn't really have to do anything with that. You have components, which is your shell of your application. You probably aren't going to have to do much with this, but just to give you reference, this is basically showing the header, the nav bar, and then the layer, any notification system that you want, so that's what this is mainly doing. This is the shell of the application. To change the header, you can go into the header and you can change anything specific to the header. To change anything in the nav bar, you can go here and you can add or remove. So a lot of the pages are automatically added into the nav bar, and once you look into this a little bit further, you'll see that, and I'll explain it a little bit better. But if you want other links added to the nav bar, you can just do that. But the ones that are added automatically are done through this right here. And the way that this is automatically created is if you want to add a new section to your documentation, most of your workflow is going to revolve around this docs folder. So you create a folder with whatever section in the documentation that you're trying to create. So for example, if I want Discord, go over here to Dash Discord. Then you have a README, like basically a .md file. So this is going to be where you're going to set up most of your code, and this is automatically going to create the page, the link in the navigation, all of that. It's all done through this format. So you basically define the name, you give a description, you say what endpoint URL that you want this to be associated with. So pip/dash Discord. So it'll be whatever my URL is, /pip/dash Discord. What is the package? Just giving an explanation. So I just kind of say this is going to be dash Discord, an icon, which will be referenced in the navigation. So if I go to here, these are the icons that it's referring to, which it will create. Going back, then you can basically provide ... toc, and then like those two dots, and that's going to basically create the table of contents, which is going to be this section right here. So that automatically creates that, and the way that this is done is it reads anything that has 3 hashtags. So if you have 3 hashtags, it will create a new section. So it's just basic README file, So if you want to give a title, this is giving the title. This is what it kind of looks like on this end. And it's automatically using that as a reference for creating the table of contents, which I've already kind of talked about. So if you want to add, dynamic code, this is the way that you do it. Execute docs dash Discord create image. So that's basically saying pull up this and then create that into the documents file. So if you go over here, you don't need to create a new Dash application. If you want to run this, you just add components equal, and then this is where you're going to put all your code that you want to be in that example. And what that is going to do is, if I go back here, so for example, this is an example. So you have 2 options with that. You can have the example have code underneath to show the code that was used in the docs, or you can have it without it. So for example, if you don't want code, you just run this, and then you do code false underneath. So tab : code : space false. That's going to make sure that there's no code underneath, where this is going to render the actual example. So this is rendering this right here. So yeah, that's a basic understanding of how to use this project. Of course, you got to install requirements. This is built with Docker, so it's really easy to deploy. Renderer is a really great way to do that. So you just go to Renderer, which is a website which allows you to put in code. They have a free tier, which is another reason why I like them. But basically, once you create that repository, after you have brought in all this code and you've finished whatever your development is, then you can connect whatever you push into your own repository to Renderer, and it will automatically deploy off of Docker file. Sounds intimidating. It really isn't. It gets pretty easy. I just give it a little bit of trial and error, and you'll get it working. So with that, go to Dash documentation boilerplate, clone the project, try this out. It's a great addition to a lot of different projects, and hopefully I could see more of this being used. So outside of that, I want to talk about one of my favorite libraries, which is Dash Leaflet. Dash Leaflet is an open source library made by Emil, which allows you to create interactive maps. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to add to that. I wanted to give it more features. One of those features that I added and created was I wanted to add color so that you can use the edit control tools. You can add color, for example, red. Bam, that turns red. So this is what this allows you to do. Still have the ability to move stuff around. Just gives more design capabilities with the edit controls so that you can draw, edit, and do all that. So outside of that, another contribution that I'm trying to make to this open source project is I added ant design, which is currently not running. But if I go to the project itself, and if I run that file, and if I go back and reload it, cool. Now we can see that if I change the width, it does that. If I increase the time, it slows it down. If I decrease the time, it speeds it up. You can change, the sizes of the dash. You can change the color, white and red, green and red, green and white. Pause the animation, start the animation, reverse the animation. So this is another example of a new plugin that has been added to Dash Leaflet that I'm trying to get brought in. So we'll talk about how you can actually play with this, how you can use it, and how you can kind of see some of the latest stuff that I'm working on as I have forked Dash Leaflet, and I'm trying to contribute and create new and useful tools for it. But if anything, in the meantime, because it hasn't been merged into the project, you can just clone my repository, which we will talk about later, and I'll show you how you can get these features and some of the new ones that will probably be created by the time this video launches, and start using them. But outside of that, another useful thing that I added to Dash Leaflet is I added a image marker. So what an image marker is, it's kind of like two components that I kind of created. This was all created from scratch. I had an idea because I've kind of seen an image of it, but I needed to basically create this from scratch, and that's what I did with this. I did use another component that I've already created, which is going to be the image gallery and partnership, to kind of show how this could work and why you might want this. But let's say that you have an image gallery of all the different places that you have visited. So each location is a marker. You click on the marker and then you get the images. So these images are dynamically being generated from an API, just as an example, but you can kind of see what this does. So you can start it, stop it, but it gives you that image gallery component. It gives you a nice way to kind of cycle between them. It gives you the marker that you can click on. So this was a really cool example, and there is some reference code that you can kind of look at. And what I have done and what I want to talk about next is the leaflet fork that I created, and to kind of show you how you can contribute and how you can add new stuff to Dash Leaflet, because this is such a really great tool and something that I recommend people to look into. Is it will make you a better developer if you open up some of these projects and if you start working within them, because I honestly, I don't know much React, I don't know much TypeScript. I'm good with Python, but in this, it's forcing me to learn TypeScript. It's forcing me to look within React and to kind of see some of the patterns that are happening. What I have done and what I recommend doing is downloading Claude. There is a new app that you can get. You can add a bunch of different files now. So as you can see here, it's not limited to just 5 files for reference. You also have your project knowledge, which is still there. But what I do is I create a new project. I give it, you know, a concept or like something that I'm trying to work within. So for in this case, it's based on Dash Leaflet, and I'm trying to add support for more plugins. And then I just talk. You know, I give it some reference files from the project. Basically, I go down here, I take everything that's in the main. I take, you know, most of this section of the test, the smaller part, and then I give it, you know, some of the other sections in the TypeScript. So anything from here to here, I add that to project knowledge, and then I give whatever file that I'm working on. And then I just have a conversation with the AI. Claude AI has been the best performing from my research, and it's helped me create all these, but I just kind of talk to it and give it a goal, and then just kind of work through it and test it. So the way that you get this project set up, and the way that you can actually start working within this is it does look intimidating, but there's really only two sections that you're really going to be working within. So some of the projects and where you would want to look for, you know, other tools that you can bring in is you can go to Leaflet, and you can go to plugins, and there's a long list of plugins that you can look through, and there's a lot of really cool stuff. Just kind of look on the right hand side, because this will tell you like the last time that it was been updated, which is a good reference. And then also just look at the stars to see if it's still being maintained or if it would still work with the latest version of Leaflet, because some of these are outdated, like 6 years, 10 years. You probably don't want to be using those. So look for the newer stuff, look for the stuff that has a lot of stars, and see if it would be something useful to be brought into Dash Leaflet. So this is one that I thought was really interesting, just to kind of show you what is possible. I haven't been able to get this into Dash Leaflet, but it's an interesting concept. It allows you to create a player, and the map tracks the player along following a path. So a polygon, a rectangle, a line. You can use whatever, and then add a player to it. And basically, as you can see here, this could be useful for machine learning or for AI or a lot of different, you know, inventory management systems. This is the stuff that sets you apart and will get you the best jobs that are available, is learning this type of stuff. And this is what I'm excited about, because I can see the possibilities, you know, and this is why I want to teach how to add these type of components into a project and to expand it, to add more use that will scale the innovation that is possible. So going back into how do you work within Dash Leaflet, the open source project. So for this, we're going to be focusing on my development version. I'll include this in the links down below, but I have in my repository Dash Leaflet, which you can click. This is a fork from Dash Leaflet with the work that I have been contributing to it. But basically what you can do is you can go up here, you just clone it. So git clone, and then this link right here. And then you do that within a new project. It will create this code here. Then you just kind of want to follow through the README file, which is just going to be, you don't need the first section. It's going to be this section right here. So build instructions. So git clone, that link that I referred to, cd into Dash Leaflet, which is this folder right here. Then create an environment if you don't already have one, which is this right here. Then you want to install the requirements. So pip install -r requirements.txt npm I space -- ignore scripts. Run that command, npm run build. So that's going to be what is going to be necessary to at least get the, you know, npm side of things set up. You know, the React and the TypeScript, that gets all that set up. So the workflow will look like this. Once you have an idea for a component, you find one. Ideally, give as much context as possible to Claude AI. So or whatever AI that you're using. I would go into the README file of the plugin that I'm trying to add. I'll copy as many useful files that I can find from there. I will go in here, I'll copy any useful files that I think would be needed for the AI to get context. I might give a few components so I can get some context on how they're supposed to be built. Just kind of give it as much information as possible. Then give it a goal. Like, okay, I want to build out this new component ant path. Okay, for example, I need a antpath.tsx file. Can you help me build that out? And it usually will spit something out. It probably will not work on the first try. It might not work on the 10th try, but you should be getting better and better, and more progress will be made as the AI slowly learns what your workflow is and what you're doing. So just keep at it. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Maybe try a simple plugin and then work your way into more complicated plugins. That's what I'm doing here. But with that, for AntPath, it created this file right here. And then I've been working with it to edit it and make it better and make sure that everything works with it. But once you have this and you have something that isn't showing errors in the terminal, because if it shows anything red in here, you'll want to fix it. Then once you think that you have a working version or something that might work, the next thing that you want to do is you're going to want to run that npm run build command again. So you run that. And if everything works, you're going to get a response that looks like this. So it just generates a bunch of files. It gets everything ready for you, and that is good. So if you see that, you're on the right path. You're so close to getting done. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to run pip install -e space dot. And this is going to install for development, the new leaflet file that you just created. So with that, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go into tests, components, and you're going to want to create a test for this new leaflet component that you've been building out. So it's a little bit different than a normal, Dash file because it's using this app stub. This app stub is basically creating a container for leaflet, and the layout's a little bit different, but don't get too discouraged by it because it's not too difficult. But what I would recommend doing is I would recommend creating this file first, running the npm run build, and making sure that that passes prior to trying to create a test components ant path or whatever your project or plugin that you're trying to create. So create this section first before you do this section. One more thing to note in this is after you create this and before you can run the npm run build, there is a index.typescript, and all you need to do is you need to import whatever the new plugin that you have is over here. So for example, antpath, and then I just bring it in. So all you're doing is your import antpath from .components antpath. And that's referring to this file. This brings it into the overarching npm run build so that I can actually see that there's something new added, and then it can build that file whenever you run that command. So with that, if everything built and you are ready for that next step and you create that test, the way that the test works is you're not going to create a new Dash file or, like application. You're going to be running test.stubs, and this is going to create that. So this is just kind of showing like what I want the polygons, the path, the rectangle to look like. I create a circle through this function, which is just basically doing the same thing as this. Then I do app equals, and this is going to be the app stub. So that's how you're going to run this. This is basically a leaflet container. So you can only put leaflet stuff in here. So app stub components, the layer for the map, something that we've seen before. Ant path, which is going to be the new component that I'm working within, the props that are available for it. And I have a few of these because I'm putting a few of them on the map to see. And then, so this is, if I go back up and if I minimize components, that's all going to go in the components section. So whatever you're working with in the plugin that you're building, that will go in the components section of app stub. Within app stub, you have the same options available as the leaflet container. So zoom, for example, centering the graph, for example, that's all going to go within here. So outside of that, if you want to add other components that are not leaflet specific, and if you want, for example, a color picker or whatever else that you're trying to use, as in this example, I have all of these different options, which can be seen in this area, this bottom area right here. So these are getting brought in by basically app layout children insert. -1 means that it's going to be at the back of the app layout. 1 or 0 is going to be at the very front. So for me, I wanted this below the map, so I chose -1, and that's going to put this on the index of this list that's showing all the components at the very end of it. So this is how I was able to get those at the back end and to render below the map itself. So it's once you get that and you understand these basic things in regards to getting it set up and working, you're good to go. This is the hardest part, but once you get it, you get it. And yeah, so I'm creating all these components, then just callbacks like normal, just bring it in, callbacks up here from Dash, import callback, input, output, state, use all that, and then just run it, like a simple, normal Dash application. So once you do all that, you have your test file, you've already npm run build, you're ready to test it. You just need to install, the latest one. So you install it, and then after that, you run Python, then you point to it. So test components and path.py. Bam. So now it's up and running. So that's how you can work within it. I have a few, like the ones that I've worked within, and path over here. Edit control, I added, a better example over here that you can look through. And then image marker. So this is the other one that I have worked within, and hopefully I'll be adding more. So look at the repository, see the last time that I've updated it. I would like to add more plugins. If you have any interesting ones that you think would be useful, and if you can't seem to add it yourself, reach out. Put in the comments down below. Tell me what you would like to see, and I'll see if I can add it. If I think it's useful, or if I have the time, all depending. But with that, I wanted to give some context on how to contribute to what is this amazing open source project and what I have contributed. And my goal going into 2025 is I want to work more in the mapping sector, in the cartography. I want to show how you can create interactive tools with Dash using Leaflet, and how it can increase the project knowledge of data. So just to give you a brief showdown of some of the work that I have done. This is a front-end application that's actively in development, and it will be for a long time. But hopefully going into the new year, this is where I'm going to be contributing a lot of work. But you get to select an area. You get icons which represent what is on the map. So it gives a map. It's kind of like Google Maps in a way, but I think I could do a better job, but we will see. It's more focused on just Aransas, this area that I call home, and hopefully I can expand it out. But I want to make it more dynamic. I want users to add their own stuff. I want users to create their own map, to be able to draw on it with animation or with color, or there's a lot of different ways that you can take it. And that's the real freedom and creativity that is available with programming and with this amazing framework. So with that, a lot of exciting stuff. Check out the documentation file that I've included. It's a great boilerplate for you to create interactive documentations. Check out the repository and some of the new features that I have added to Dash Leaflet. And let me know if you see any bugs. Contribute your own plugins to it, and just force yourself to learn and to be a better programmer. And that's what I'm really trying to do, and I'm trying to contribute more to open source rather than just creating my own projects. And with that, I hope everyone has a happy holiday, and I hope that y'all build something really great with this knowledge, and I hope that this is useful. So if it is, please like, subscribe, share. It's a small channel. Anything really helps. And I thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.